There's your thought for the day. One of my favorites. We're going to cover section 8.3, equations of lines and circles. Our objective is to find the equations of circles. Equations of lines should be reviewed for you. So if we're given the points negative 4, 2, and 5, 2 on a line L, to find the equation that describes all the points on line L, we're going to use the slope formula method to solve. So first of all, to find the slope, it's the difference of the y values over the difference of the x values. So we could take m equals 5 minus 2 over 2 minus a negative 4, it's 2 plus 4. So that's going to equal to 3 over 6, which is equal to 1/2, right? And then we can say 1/2 is equal to, and then we pick one of the points. Let's pick the 2, negative 4, 2. So it would be, and we plug that into the slope formula again, 1/2, and then we have y minus 2 over x minus a negative 4, so x plus 4. Then we cross multiply, we get 2y minus 4 equals x plus 4. So that's going to be 2y equals x plus 8, and y equals 1/2 x plus 4. That's slope intercept form, with the slope being, slope intercept is y equals mx plus b. The slope is m and b is 4. It's the y-intercept. If we have to put that in standard form is ax plus by equals c, where there are no fractions. So you clear all the fractions in your equation. The a has to be positive and an integer, and b has to be an integer. So if I wanted to put this in standard form, I would have gone from, at this step, 2y equals x plus 8, and I would have made that into the equation x minus 2y equals negative 8. That would be standard form rather than slope-intercept form. So just pay attention to what it asks, whether it wants standard form or slope-intercept form. Any questions about putting something in standard form? Shatis?
Will we ever be covering point slope form?
We don't use point slope at the high school. We use slope formula. That's how we do it. Because then you don't have to work with fractions. When you cross multiply, there's no fractions. What were you going to ask, Nina? All right. So find the equation of the perpendicular bisector of AB, for which A and B are the given points. All right. So what do I have to do to find the perpendicular bisector? There's two things I need to do. What's one of them, Shatis?
Find the midpoint.
We need to find the midpoint, and what else do we need to do? Jordan? Yeah, we find the perpendicular slope. So the midpoint, let's do the midpoint here. So midpoint of AB is going to equal to the average of the x values, so it'd be negative 5 plus 1 divided by 2, and the y values would be negative 2 plus 7 divided by 2. Alright, so that's going to be equal to negative 4 over 2, 5 over 2, which is equal to negative 2, 5/2. So that's the midpoint. Now we have to find the slope of AB. Slope of AB is equal to the difference of the y, so it's 7 minus a negative 2. Oh, I messed that up. 7 minus negative 2, so 7 plus 2 over 1 minus a negative 5, so 1 plus 5 is going to give me 9 over 6, or 2/3 is the slope. So M perpendicular to AB would be what? What would the perpendicular slope be? Oh, wait. I wrote the right number. The slope is 3/2 for AB. AB is 3/2. What would the perpendicular slope be? Julia? Right, we flip it and change the sign, so it's -2/3. Right? So now we plug that into the slope formula. Okay, so we take our slope, -2/3, and we set it equal to y minus, okay, in our midpoint, well, we got to plug it in the midpoint, that's a point on the line, so y minus 5/2 over x plus 2. So then we cross multiply, so we get -2 times x plus 2 equals 3 times y minus 5/2. Right, so then we multiply that through again, so we get -2x minus 4 equals 3y minus 15 over 2. Right? And I'm going to erase this on the left since we don't need it anymore. So we have some room to finish this up. So then we have, we solve that. For y, we get 3y equals -2x minus, let's change this to the 4 to 8/2, minus 8 over 2 plus 15/2. So that's going to be 3y equals -2x plus 7/2, which is equal to y, and then we divide by 3, y equals -2/3 x plus 7/6 would be the equation of the perpendicular bisector. Any questions? Nina?
How do we need to divide by x plus 2?
Divide by x plus 2. Yeah, because that's just, we're plugging into the formula m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And then we know, if we know the slope, we plug in the slope and we make y2 and x2 my variables, y and x. So then I took that point, that midpoint, which was and I plug in the y and x that I used for it. All right. Any other questions? Okay. Systems of equations. The solutions of a system of two linear equations. Two linear equations have 0, 1, or infinitely many simultaneous solutions if and only if the lines represented are parallel, intersect in one point, or coincide respectively. Right? So if they're parallel, they have 0 solutions. They intersect, they have 1 solution. If they're coincide, then they have infinitely many solutions. Find the point M where the diagonals of A, B, C, D intersect. Okay? So we have to see where the A, B, and C intersect. So I've got to find the equations for both lines. So we can do the slope of AC. We have to find the slope of AC. Okay, so it's going to be 4 over 8. 4 minus 0 over 8 minus 0, which is 1/2. Then I plug 1/2 into the slope formula, and I'm going to use a point 0, 0 with it. So y minus 0 over x minus 0, so we're going to have y equals 1/2 x. Then we do the slope of BD. M of BD is going to equal to 4 minus 1 over -4 minus a -8, so it equals 3 over -12, or negative 1/4. Right? So then we plug that into the slope formula. Negative 1/4 is equal to, I'm going to use the point 81 in the formula, so it's going to be y minus 1 over x minus 8. Cross multiply, we get negative 1 times x minus 8 is equal to 4 times y minus 1, and then simplify, we get negative x plus 8 is equal to 4y minus 4. So 4y equals negative x plus 12. And then I simplify that, and I'm going to get, I'll go up here to the top, y equals 1/4 x plus 3. Okay. So all this is plug and chug. Plug it into the slope formula twice to get the equations. All right, so we've got our two equations here and here. Everybody caught up? Yes, Sheree? Yeah, it is negative 1/4. Okay, negative 1/4 x. Okay, so now to see where they intersect, I set them equal. I set these two equations equal to each other. I substitute for y, right? So let's clear this out, and let me clear it out, and then we'll do 1/2 x equals negative 1/4 x plus 3. So that's going to be 3/4 x equals 3. So then 3x equals 12. X equals 4. Alright? So if x equals 4, then we can solve for y by plugging into one of my equations. Let's plug into the easier one. So we'll have y equals 1/2 times 4. So y equals 2, so my intersection point is 4, 2. Any questions? Okay, I have to go fast because we're running out of time. I want to make sure I get through this. We can get through it, but I will have to go fast. So, the equation that describes all the points in a plane at distance 5 from the point 1, 2. In other words, what is that? All the points at distance 5 from a given point. What would that be? What shape? Circle. Yeah, so the circle. Okay, so those points, we're going to call the points that are 5 from 1, 2, we'll call them x, y. So I do the distance formula. 5 is the distance is equal to, okay, and then we'd have x is the unknown point minus the center point for x, the x value of the center point, x minus 1 squared plus y minus 2 squared, and then we square both sides, so we're going to get x minus 1 squared plus y minus 2 squared equals 5 squared is 25. Right? So that's my equation, and that's the equation of a circle. So we use a distance formula to find the equation of a circle. The more general form of that is h and k is the center point, so it's x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals the radius squared. That's the equation of a circle. Now don't write, if the radius is 5, don't put 5 squared, put 25, because 5 squared is not simplified. You want to go ahead and square it out. So now here's an example of a circle problem. Determine where the circle with the center negative 5, 3 and radius 6 intersects the line whose slope is negative 1 and whose y-intercept is 2. So we've got two things going on here. We have a circle and a line. So we've got the circle equation. The equation for this circle would be what? X minus what? Shatice.
X minus -5.
Right, so we'll call it x plus 5 squared plus y minus what?
3.
Y minus 3 squared equals what? 36. Right? And then the equation of the line is, okay, they give you the slope and the y-intercept, so we can say y equals mx plus b. Y equals the slope is 1. So it's y equals x plus the intercept is 2. Right? So y equals x plus 2. So now we're going to take that y equals x plus 2 and we're going to plug it into the circle formula for y, and then that will solve for the point. Okay, so this becomes x plus 5 squared plus y, we plug in for y, it's x plus 2 minus 3 squared equals 36. We simplify that, that's going to be x squared plus, let's do one more, x plus 5 squared plus x minus 1 squared equals 36. Then we square everything out. We get x squared plus 10x plus 25 plus x squared minus 2x plus 1 equals 36. Everybody with me so far? Okay. So then we have to simplify that. So that's going to be 2x squared plus 8x plus 26 equals 36. Make sure everybody has that written down. Is everybody to this point? Anybody need time to write? Okay, so I'm going to clear that out and continue on solving. So now we have 2x squared plus 8x minus 10 equals 0. And then we divide by 2, we get x squared plus 4x minus 5 equals 0. Then we do factor, so that's going to be x plus 5 and x minus 1 equals 0. So then we solve for x. X equals negative 5 or 1. Right? So we can now plug in negative 5 into my original equation of the line. That equation was y equals x plus 2. So we can plug in negative 5. So we have y equals negative 5 plus 2, which is equal to y equals negative 3. So that means one of the points is going to be negative 5, negative 3. And then the other point, we would plug it in. And we plug in, and so y equals, to my original line equation, 1 plus 2. So y equals 3. So that point would be 1, 3. Those are the 2 points. All right. Any questions on the notes? No questions. Okay, you have a homework assignment listed in Canvas.